Good morning, students, and today's algebra lesson will be about no solution and infinite solution equations. So something a little new today, but it's not a very lengthy lesson. I think you'll do well with this. We're going to start with our do now, which has a question about being afraid. We're going to talk a little bit today about fear. Our objective will be to solve equations that have no solution or an infinite number of solutions. That's our objective. Our essential question is, what does an equation with no solutions or an infinite number of solutions look like? And what does that mean in terms of a real-world problem? For our assignment, we will watch this video and we'll complete the worksheet. And we will complete also an activity called What Do You Call a Potato Who Reads the News? For our exit ticket, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I put an assessment in your quiz folder, and I'd like you to work on problems 1 through 6 in there. I want to make sure you get some really good practice with some of these concepts as soon as we learn them. Our homework will be No Solution, Infinite Solutions worksheet. And I just want to remind you that you will be working on much of your Unit 2 assessment concurrently as we work on the lessons. And the reason I'm doing this is to encourage you to stay on top of your lessons. I don't want you to be waiting until the weekend to catch up on all your work. You really need to do things as they're due in algebra because we build on these new concepts every day. And this way there will be much less work for you to complete. So please stay on top of your lessons and don't get behind. Remember to email me for help. Sometimes a chat gets lost in hundreds of chats, so an email I will always see. I clear my email box to 0 throughout the day. And I'm going to be putting some extra help sessions up after school, and those will be virtual. So look for those, students, and thank you for your hard work in algebra. And of course, Yoda reminds us that learning algebra is not just about knowing your Jedi math tricks, it's about knowing what you're doing when you use your Jedi math tricks. So keep working hard and don't get behind. So let's look at our do now for today. How is fearfully terrified? So we've kind of modified the idea of fear with terrified, different from being fearfully worried. And are there other ways to be afraid? I know that with everything going on with COVID, we have lots of different kinds of fear. If we have a loved one who's very sick and in the hospital, we might feel terrified. But when we come to school and we have to wear a mask, we might just feel a little bit worried. Are there other ways to be afraid? Well, I'm concerned, which is another way that I can be kind of afraid. I'm concerned that if I don't see you enough, you won't learn enough in algebra, because I really feel like our interactions are the most important thing to us in algebra, which is why I record lessons, so I can, hopefully you feel like I'm kind of right here with you as much as I possibly can be. But do you think naming the type of fear maybe helps us? I do. I think that if you can name the specific fear and identify it, maybe that can help you sort of solve the problem that it's bringing into your life. So please spend a minute or two thinking about this idea of naming your fear and being very specific about it, and write a sentence or two about that. So I'm going to give you a minute to do that right now. So hopefully you've done that. And I just want to remind you that our exit ticket for today, I'm going to have you go ahead into your Unit 2 assessment and work on problems 1 to 6. We want to keep those skills sharp. I'm trying to give you a really good reason to stay on top of these ideas as soon as you learn them, so you get that practice. I'm kind of forcing you to practice a little bit, but that's what algebra teachers do, and you're doing a great job. So let's get into today's lesson. Today we're talking about no solution and infinite solution equations. This might be kind of an odd concept for you. We're so used to solving these equations, and when we solve them, we usually have x equals a number. or we have x is greater than or equal to a number, x is less than equal to a number. But here, we're going to have a solution that is either no solution, so there isn't a solution, or an infinite number of solutions. And what that means, students, is that there is no possible number that could work as a solution for the equation. That's no solution. Or every number could work as a solution to the equation. And every number includes all of our fractions, our rational numbers. It includes decimals. It includes positive numbers, negative numbers, and all those nuanced parts of numbers that we talk about. So let's get started and let's see what happens when we try to solve these equations. So I see here that I'm going to have to use the distributive property first on this equation. Negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x, Negative 4 times 1 is, that's a positive 1. Negative times a positive is negative 4 equals negative 8x minus 2. And let's think about this. Let's move the variable term over by subtracting 8x from both sides. And when we do that, what happens is the negative 8, positive 8, they cancel each other out. When we combine negative 8 and positive 8x, we have 0x. And what we end up with is negative 4 equals negative 2. Well, you know what? That is not a true statement. That's a false statement. Negative 4 is not equal to negative 2. So we say that there is no solution. And when you do these, I'd like you to either write no solution, or you can give me the no solution sign. So let's look at an infinite solution equation. So I see that I'm going to have to distribute on the right side of the equation to solve this equation. So I'll start out on the left side with negative 5 minus 9x equals 3 times 1 is 3, minus 3 times 3 is 9x, minus 8. So let's take a look at this. I think what I want to do is combine like terms. So let's change our color. On the left side, I have a 3. That's a positive 3. And I have this negative 8. I can combine those terms. So on the left side, I'll still have negative 5 minus 9x equals 3 minus 8 is negative 5 minus 9x. I think you can see what's happening here. We can, go ahead and, add 9x to both sides. And it looks like we got some canceling going on. What we have left is negative 5 equals negative 5. There's my equal sign, which means there are an infinite number of solutions to this equation. That means that I can substitute any number for this x here. I can substitute any positive or negative number or fraction or decimal into there, and this equation will be a true statement. So every number makes this equation true. So let's move on to some more examples. We'll start here with number 1. The first thing I need to do is distribute the 3 through to the quantity within the parentheses, which is 2x plus 2. 3 times 2x is 6x. We have an invisible positive sign here. So positive 3 times positive 2 is positive 6. We have minus 3x equals 6 plus 3x. Now, we have some combining of like terms that we can do over here. We have 6x minus 3x. So that would be 6x minus 3x would be 3x. So we've got our constant of 6 here. And then we have our 3x. 6 minus 3 is positive 3. And that's our left side. We have 6 plus 3x on the right side. And what if we try to move those variables over? We can do that. And you'll see what happens here. 3, take away 3 leaves 0, and we end up with 6 equals 6. That means that whatever number we substitute for the value of x will still make this equation true. So this is an infinite solution equation. Let's move on to number 2. So we first distribute 6 times the quantity of 2x, then 6 times the quantity of negative 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times negative 6, positive 6 times negative 6 is negative 36. Be careful, we've got a negative sign here, a negative sign here, and a positive sign there. So we'll distribute the negative 7 through the negative 2x and the positive 4. So negative 7 times negative 2x is 14x. Negative 7 times positive 4 is negative 28. Now let's subtract 12x from both sides of the equation. So 14 take away 12 is 2x. On the left side, I have negative 36. On the right side, I have 2x minus 28. Now we'll add 28 to both sides of the equation. So we can have the variables on the right and the constants on the left. Whatever we do to one side of an equation or inequality, we do to the other. So 36 plus 28 is negative 8 equals 2x. What is happening to x? It's being multiplied by 2. The opposite of multiplication is division. And negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4 equals x. I love to write my answers with x on the left side. X equals negative 4. And that's the final answer. So that is neither a no solution nor is it an infinite solution problem. So I want you to go ahead and try the next two, pause the video, and then come back. Okay, let's see how you did. We need to distribute on both sides of this equation. There's my little reminders right there. So 8 times 5, and they're both positive, is 40x. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. 6 times negative 3, that would be negative 18x. 6 times negative 4 is negative 24. I think I will add 18x to both sides of the equation. Now I have 40 plus 18 is 58x. Minus 24 equals negative 24. Let's add 24 to both sides of the equation. Now, negative 24 plus 24 is going to be 0. Negative 24 plus 24 again is going to be 0. What I end up with is 58x equals 24. Now remember, I'm looking for x equals a number here. I have not yet isolated x. So, let's not do yellow. It won't show up very well. So I'll divide both sides of the equation by 58, which will give me x equals 0 divided by 58 is always 0. Students, this does not mean no solution. This is my algebra students usually call it a legit 0. Just a funny term they came up with last year. This is not no solution. This is 0. So x has a value, and that value here is 0. So let's look at number 4. So let's see, I have 3x minus 13 on the left. And I've got 2 opportunities to distribute on the right. So 7 times x, remember we have an invisible 1 here. 7 times x is 7x. 7 times 2 is 14. Those are both positive. Now we've got a negative 4 times invisible positive 1x. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4x. Negative 4 times negative 7 is positive 28. So it looks like I can combine some terms on the right. I'm going to combine 14 and 28, and I will combine 7 and negative 4. So on the left side of the equation, I have 3x minus 13, and on the right side, 7x minus 4 is 3x. So 7 take away 4 is 3x. 14 plus 28 is 42. So now I will subtract 3x from both sides of the equation. I think you see what's going to happen now. What I'm ending up with is negative 13 equals 42, which is not a true statement. This is a no solution. So I have a little activity for you to work on. I know that you can't sit close to anyone, but I still think you can work with a partner. You're going to have to just talk a little bit so that you can each try this. You have 4 sets of problems. And for each set of problems, when you solve it, you're going to get a letter of the alphabet. Let me show you how this works. So here we have negative 3 minus 3x equals negative 4 times the quantity of 2x plus 7. I need to distribute. So negative 3 minus 3x equals negative 8x minus 28. Let's finish solving. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. And that gives me, you might need some extra paper for this. Negative 3 equals negative 5 minus 28. So I'll add 28 to both sides. I have to work down here. Which is going to give me 25 equals negative 5x, and when I divide both sides by negative 5, x equals negative 5. So I'm going to put that here. I'm going to do some erasing. Okay. Now, one of these problems on this side will be we'll have an answer of x equals -5. So I'm going to try this third problem. First, I need to distribute. So 5 plus 4x minus 4 equals 2x minus 9. I will combine like terms here. So 5 minus 4 is 1 plus 4x equals 2x. I just combined the 5 minus 4. So I think what I will do, forgot my minus 9. Okay, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So I have 1 plus 2x equals -9. And I'm going to subtract 1 from each side. 2x equals -10. I think we see what's happening here. I'll divide both sides by 2. And x equals -5. So that's this problem right here, -5. Okay, so I've got number 10 goes with E. So then I go down to the bottom of the page. It's a joke, so we're starting with a joke. What do you call a potato who reads the news? So spot number 10 is an E. So as you work through these problems, you're going to get the answer to the joke. So work on that, and then I want you to go back. Some of them will be no solution, infinite solution, and I want you to work on those problems as your exit ticket. For homework tonight, you do have a no solution, infinite solution worksheets. You can get some more practice with those problems. I'm proud of how hard you're working. Keep it up. Look for extra help opportunities and ask questions if you have them. Have a great day. You'll be great.